Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start just as we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning in room 350 of City Hall at 10 a.m. But this is one of our off-site meetings, and we are very pleased to be here at the Cypress Park Recreation Center. So welcome everyone to the special meeting of the Board of Public Works for this evening, Wednesday, January 20th, 2016.
Commissioner James Davis Rodriguez, repenting and assent to our president. President, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introduction, starting with Bureau of Sanitations, please.
Good evening. Enrique Zaldivar, I'm the General Manager, Director of the Bureau of Sanitation.
Good evening, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good evening, Ron Lorenzen, Assistant Director, Bureau of Street Services.
Good evening, John Reamer, the Director of the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good evening, Gary Lee Moore, City Engineer, Bureau of Engineering.
Good evening, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Good evening, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, you received speaker cards under general public comment and also speaker cards on all the items on today's agenda.
Okay, thank you, sir. I would mention that if you would like translation services, we do have it available, I believe, in the back of the room. And Fernando, there we go, and he's waving. And Fernando, you will provide that information in Spanish.
El Departamento de Obras Públicas tiene un servicio de interpretación. Si necesita a alguien en español, por favor, mire a la persona atrás del cuarto y le puede atender y le da un equipo para traducir.
Thank you. So we would like to start, of course, first by hearing from Councilman Gilbert Cedillo from Council District 1. Councilman, thank you for the invitation to be here tonight. We're very pleased to be here. We look forward to the meeting. Your floor, sir.
Thank you. I am very excited to see you guys here. I looked up at my calendar and I saw a Public Works meeting in CD1, and so you are in one of our finest communities, Cypress Park, and it's one that has adopted me and given me an opportunity to do work here. So most of the people here from Cypress Park, I don't know if you know, can I introduce you guys?
Oh, please.
Right? Boyle Heights. Yes, Herman, we're from Boyle Heights, but right now we're in Cypress Park. So I had the pleasure of working with this young man who I worked with in many political campaigns before we were both working in political offices, later with SEIU, later as an assembly member and a senator. My friend and colleague, Michael Davis, thank you for being here with us. And welcome to Cypress Park. Monica Rodriguez, who I just saw over the holidays, is a longtime engaged leader in our community, comes from the Valley. So thank you for joining us on the other side here in Cypress Park. Thank you, Monica. Joel Jacinto is a tremendous leader for the city and also a great example of leadership out of the Filipino community. He and I worked when I was in the Assembly, in the Senate, with my staff. His organization, SIPA, is a model for nonprofits who serve their community, and he is a role model, not just for the Filipino community, but for the entirety of the city. Joel Jacinto, thank you for being here. And Heather Rapeni, Kevin, I'm going to say this because I know you think you and I are the favorites of each other, but actually Heather is one of our favorite persons to work with because she's ever present, and she is relied upon by the mayor, which means for us, she's an asset. And I think what's very important is that these commissioners play this role of making the things that we do here in local government happen. And so you can call my office. We'll do and respond as fast as we can, but actually in the areas that we're going to talk about tonight, it's the Public Works commissioners that make it happen. This is their full-time job. This is their full-time activity. These are the things that they do, so this is what we rely on them for. And Heather has been a very reliable member of the mayor's team, which means that for us we have a continued asset with her when we do our work with her. There's other people here tonight. Marianne Hayashi, where are you? I want to introduce you. Marianne, please stand up. Alejandro Cortez, where are you, Alan? Hi. Alexia Turan, where are you? Alexia, no está? Okay. Vicky Montes, all the way from Lincoln Heights? Nope. Okay. Who else? And Leslie Olmos? No? Hey, Leslie. She's from Nightingale, where we have this incredible orchestra that we're building at Nightingale. So tonight, we're going to talk about the stuff that Public Works does. We're also going to talk about something that was very important to us since our campaign, and it was something that we observed, something that I noticed being from Boyle Heights, having grown up in Boyle Heights, being an Angelino. My family's been here since 1910. One of the things that I noticed when I campaigned for this office was that the streets were very dirty. And it just impressed me because I spent a lot of time in Sacramento working on big broad brush policy. But when I came and ran for office, I noticed that the streets were dirty. And for everything that I could hear people talk about, I thought, well, this is kind of interesting because it seemed to me that that would be one of the most fundamental things that we would have to do is make sure that for everybody who lives in our district, that they would have a clean street. They should have a clean street, they should have access to a park, it should be safe and secure, and that all public facilities should be functioning and should be accessible, that these were the most basic things that anybody should expect from their city. And so that was a cause that we took on from the very beginning, and working with Public Works and working with the mayor, we were able to champion what's called, first a pilot in our district, Keep It Clean, and you may see some of our more people to introduce. I like my staff. I forgot to introduce you because no one knows that Kevin James is the president of the Chamber of the Board of Public Works. So I thank my staff for doing that. This happens when you get great staff from the unions because they just never forget these things, right? So anyway, back to the story of Keep It Clean. So we wanted to make sure that the streets were clean. And we've done an incredible job. We're going to get some metrics on it, some measures. But we do a cleanup every other week in our district. And our district goes, remember, from USC up towards Pico Union, through Westlake, over this side, Cypress Park, Highland Park, Lincoln Heights, Glassell Park, Solano Canyon, Angelino Heights, Echo Park. We do a cleanup almost every other week. That's volunteer cleanup. But then we also have our department of sanitation that's the lead on this, and we're very proud of the funding that we were able to get for them and the focus to prioritize keeping our streets clean. You may have seen our trash cans, our solar-powered trash cans. They're throughout the district. You'll see them on North Broadway. You'll see them on Figueroa. You'll see them on Alvarado. On some of the main corridors, you're going to see these trash cans, solar-powered, designed, and we're very proud of them. And it's just part of our efforts. There was an incredible study that said, look, we don't even have enough trash cans. So even if we could get people to stop throwing their trash, just out on the street, we didn't even have enough trash cans, and that was incredible stuff once we started studying this. And so I just want to thank you, board members, for being here and coming to Cypress Park, and then, of course, I want to thank Cypress Park for being Cypress Park because it's a very special district to us. It's got a very community feel, neighborhood feel to it, and I'm sure there's many in the city, but I have an affinity for us being here today in Cypress Park. So anyway, thank you, everybody. I'm here for, I think, most of the night. Anyway, thank you. And Gary Moore. I didn't introduce you. Gary Moore is here with us. Please stand, Gary, and be received. Okay. I'm going to stop talking until you tell me to start again because we've got some certificates to give out. Right?
Okay, don't go too far, Councilman.
Okay, I've got my certificates. You tell me when to come back.
Agenda item number 1, certificates of recognition. Central City Action Committee, Northeast Graffiti Busters, Koreatown Youth and Community Center, and the Los Angeles Conservation Corps from yourself and the Office of Community Beautification, Paul Roch.
Okay.
I got the public works ones, you got the council ones.
Okay, so let's do these. What was the first one? LA Conservation Corps?
Yes.
Is there a rep from LA Conservation Corps? Yes? Come on, brother. Are you the rep? Yes. Represent, here. And there you go. Northeast Graffiti Busters?
What's up? Go ahead.
Northeast Graffiti Busters, all right. Thank you for your service. I know we give you a lot of work. Thank you. Central City Action Committee. Who is, oh yeah, Mary Ann. Mary Ann's the stalwart of this committee. There you go. There you go. And then one last one is Korean Youth Community Center, KYCC. Thank you. Let's give them a hand for their service. Let's thank them all.
So you want to get commissioners up for this?
No, we'll let. We normally, what we'll do is we'll do the whole commission. So why don't we take 1 minute to do that?
Are you getting any of this picture?
Oh, now we're going this way.
Mr. President, I have one last item.
Yes.
So I have, now everybody here should know these people, but I'm just going to introduce them because one, they deserve an introduction. Two, if you don't know them, you should know them because they are the expression of my office in the field. My work is done mostly, as you know, mostly done in City Hall. That's where our Division of Labor places me. But we have a very competent field office, where our field office is up on 56 in Fig, and then our other office is over at Glassell Park. So we've got two offices that we staff. We look forward to opening up another on the west side of the district, but right now we have two offices. And so I want to introduce, starting with a very sharp man that I think has tremendous promise. He's realized so much of it. He used to be was the president of his college at Cal State Fresno State, and I call him Mr. President because he was the president and because of his aspirations. He was undocumented, and he was the student body president, and he got up and acknowledged his legal status and his commitment to his family and his hard work, and he became a hero and one of our interns. He came down to Los Angeles, got a master's degree, and now he is one of our caseworkers. Pedro Ramirez, raise your hand. There you go. Many of you have known Melinda Ramos Alatore. That sounds funny, Melinda Ramos Alatore. For many years and seen her grow up. She's an amazing organizer. She worked for SCIU, and so she brings that skill set to our office and to her work every day. She thinks like an organizer, which means she's always thinking about getting people involved and having them acknowledged. Melinda, please raise your hand. Hugo Ortiz is a man that has a life that resembles my life. We're both from Boyle Heights. We're both from UCLA. We are young parents, and we're very committed to public service. And so, Hugo, please raise your hand so people can see you. And then someone who does a really extraordinary job for me, I got to meet him a few years ago, and I admire the work that he does, not just for the city and the work he does with us, but he's a real leader in the recovery community. We call him J-Rod. His name is Jose Rodriguez. Where's the doctor? Where are you, J-Rod? And then finally, somebody I've known almost my whole life. I knew him since I think I was about 13 years old. His family and my family were involved in East Los Angeles Pop Warner football at Laguna Park, and that was before it was even Salazar Park, over on the corner near Indiana and Whittier Boulevard. And his family, and as I said, and my family, were very involved with the Bobcats and the Cougars and Pop Warner football. I am dating myself, I know that, but I just wanted to show the breadth and depth of our trust and confidence that comes over all those years. A great leader, a great labor leader, a great student leader, and a great leader of the community. One of the stars of our staff, Conrado Terrazas. Guapo. So that's my staff. That's how we think about them. For you here from Cypress Park. Who's missing? Oh, Mel snuck in here. So Mel is my first hire. He is a real leader, also a Bruin. We have a little bias towards UCLA. It's not the only school that we works in my office, but we do have a bias. I got Mel from Senator Roberti, and that's a high standard, and that was the first guy I hired when I was elected to office. I wanted to bring somebody in who knew what was going on in the state, and so I brought somebody from Senator Roberti's office who brought the knowledge of the Senate to us and how the state works, and he's been with me since day one. So he's worked for me in several capacities since then. That's been 16 years, and he is a really talented man. He writes musicals. He's a leader, not just in the city, but in the music industry, and he's also a leader in the Filipino community. Mel Loman, raise your hand. Sergio Infanzon is with me. He's been on my staff. He's an engineer by training. He went to USC. We have affirmative action in our office, so, you know, we brought somebody from USC. But he's very talented, very skilled. And then, last but not least, a man who knows everybody. Where is he? Not this young man, not that young man. But Arturo Chavez, where is he? Oh, there he is. Arturo Chavez. I've only known him since the 10th grade. If you think of the alphabet, we were at Roosevelt, we were in homeroom together. And so, you know, they had the C's in the same homeroom, and so we've known each other since the beginning of high school. And again, in his own right, an incredible leader with incredible skills and talent. He spent a great 15 to 20 years in the private sector, and he brings that sense of urgency and of getting things done to our office, and he's a great leader. He's my chief of staff, Arturo Chavez. So that's it. And then Cypress Park is here. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 1, Commissioner Rodriguez.
Thank you, Commissioner James. Is it on?
We on?
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. I just wanted to take a minute because I have to say, coming to Cypress Park Rec Center for me is a little bit like coming home because my family grew up in Cypress Park. My dad grew up on Arroyo Seco, and my cousins used to play Little League at Cypress Park Rec Center. But one of the things I think is most endearing about this community, and I have to take the time to acknowledge it because as a 20-year-old college student at Occidental College, I had the great privilege of working for the 1st Councilmanic District at the age of 20, and it's where I started my career in city service. But it was working with some of the most inspiring community leaders that I actually learned how to really be in the service of others. And I would be remiss, and I think this board would be remiss if we didn't take an opportunity to fully really appreciate and thank the OCB contractors, leaders like Marianne Hayashi, friends of mine like Pablo Cardoso, Yasmin Corona, who I saw in the audience, David, and even traveling as far from the Northeast San Fernando Valley. There's another Northeast, and it is in the San Fernando Valley, which is my home, but Northeast Graffiti Busters, KYCC. These community organizations not only provide opportunities for our youth, but they do a great deal of service for our communities to make sure that they're clean, to make sure that they are graffiti-free. And I want to thank them for their tireless efforts, for them constantly working with us to being the great people that service our communities every single day. They do it tirelessly. And before we even generally have an opportunity to recognize that the graffiti is actually in our neighborhoods, they've already gone through the trouble of taking it down. So if you would all indulge me and please ask that these community organizations please stand and be recognized by the audience, I would really appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez. And before we move on to general public comment, I would like to remind everyone that in the back of the room we have a number of handouts for you. This provides information, our email addresses, as well as and telephone numbers, as well as contacts and information regarding all of the 5 bureaus that make up the Department of Public Works, as well as the Office of Community Beautification. So it's handy when you have city service requests and things like that you would like to make. Let's go to now to general public comment. We'll start with Luis Bracamontes. Go ahead, sir. And by the way, everyone, the public comment rules and in general, well, just the public comment rules across the board, tonight will be the same as we apply in our meetings every Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning at 10 a.m. in City Hall. So it's 2 minutes for general public comment, and then 2 minutes per item with a cumulative of 10 minutes per person. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Luis Bracamontes. Presently, I reside on Lincoln Heights, Avenue 29, which is only 1 block long. With all the things that have been happening that are good, we still have problems. But I would like to emphasize on the following. We had problems with electrical, the street lighting, and the services that they provided for us because somebody was stealing the copper wire from the sidewalks. It lasted for quite a few, actually, months. It was done not only once, but 3 times consecutively. But thanks to the street lighting district, it was fixed, and I applaud you guys for it. Also, we had a problem with people parking on the wrong side of the street and using it for different purposes. And thanks to our councilman, that was removed, those people were removed, and street signs were posted in order not to have anybody park there. With all the good things, we still have quite a few things left, even though, like I said, it's only 1 block long. We have the problem, aside from graffiti, but also dumping all kinds of items at the corner of Barranca and Avenue 29. including in the alley that connects Avenue 28 to Avenue 29. Also, we have at the corner of Avenue 29 in Pasadena, 3 huge trees that haven't been pruned for quite some time. But also because of they're so huge, the sidewalks are in terrible shape. Mothers that are carrying their kids on those carriolas things, they cannot use
2
it.
minutes.
They have to go on the street because it's very unsafe. Also, on the same Avenue 29, we have another 2 trees that cause the sidewalk to pump up, including part of the curb that's been destroyed totally. We have to, we citizens, demolish all the concrete objects so no cars will get hurt.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Stephen Chang is next. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Cheng. I'm the branch manager of the Lincoln Heights Library. The councilman earlier mentioned the importance of keeping a nice environment, a clean street, and I fully agree with his comments. At the library, we have a problem is the overflowing trash can. The library is at the corner of Avenue 26 and Workman Street. This trash can is on the sidewalk of that corner. Library, we have our own contractors to clean the library premises every 2 weeks. But because of the trash can there, this is not library's responsibility, so it's got overflow, and when the wind blows, it blows everywhere. We have a lot of patron complaints about the litter on the ground, so I was just want to bring this to the board's attention, see if anything can be done, if there's more frequent pickup of the trash. Also, we have dumping of large items like a sofa and library premises. When we called 311, asked for pickup, they told us to put it on the sidewalk. But it's impractical because the sidewalk's for people to walk on. When we move it earlier, then people get blocked. But if we don't do it, they won't get picked up. Those are the things of our concern.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Chung. Jason Waters. Jason Waters is next, and after Mr. Waters, we'll have Amy Cho. Mr. Waters.
I've got a really loud voice, so I'll just pass these around real quick. We spoke with the council member's office, and he was saying how the budget's a little bit hard sometimes to accomplish things, and he suggested
He'll do that for you.
And he suggested, his staff suggested that we, reach out at this level. There are great advances that have in Council District 1 in the Highland Park area especially. We've assembled just some simple things are based on type of work. There's sidewalk repair in there for those of you who enjoy that type of thing. There is a simple street lighting, some like semi-circle cones to be added, maybe one street light. As you know, Highland Park has come a long way. There are people who are still living there a long time, decades, and then there are newer families coming in as well. So the kind of the Mesa and El Mio Council are stakeholders who are all really excited about continuing the traditions of Highland Park and adding to it with just some basic, back to basics improvements. So there's some sidewalk work that really should be done, the street lights. And then one major issue, which somehow seems to have not happened in 20 years, which is a simple 4-way stop sign at Mesa Avenue and Avenue 61. Accidents happen there very often. And even if it's perhaps not compulsory based upon traffic patterns, it certainly would be a quality of life improvement with a church right there on that corner, and then an increase of children in the neighborhood. So these are items for your consideration. I'm sure the council member staff would be happy to facilitate my contact information there as well. And as a former DLANC board member, which I think some of the folks in the room look familiar, but I'm excited to participate as a homeowner in Highland Park to preserve the traditions and add to them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Waters. This is very helpful, by the way. Thank you. Amy Cho. And then after Ms. Cho, we will have Jose Rueda. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me up here. Thank you for having this meeting. I'm actually neighbors with Jason. He's right across the street from me. I actually have some pictures to kind of add on to what Jason touched upon. There is a sidewalk right in front of my house. Actually, one of the gentlemen mentioned the same thing with these big trees uprooting the sidewalks. So it seems like that's what's happening around Highland Park, Lincoln Heights, Boyle Heights, all these hills all over the place. The trees are getting older. Actually, the tree in front of my house died on me for a long time, for about 6 months. I requested for it to be trimmed down. Nothing ever happened until it fell on my car. So it totaled my car. And so I'm here today to kind of, ask you guys to please look at my sidewalk before anybody else falls on it. My husband fell on it last year, but we didn't really push it, but I really think that it needs to. There's an old lady that walks around my neighborhood all the time with her dogs. So I really, really thank you guys. I did actually put in a request with the street services for the four-way stops over at 61 and Mesa Avenue, but I was turned down, so I'm hoping somebody can go and look at it again. There is a church right there, and every Sunday there's a lot of families, a lot of kids that walk around there, so I really, really would appreciate your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. After Jose Rueda, and after Mr. Rueda, we'll have Evelyn Serrano.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to participate in this meeting. I'm also a Highland Park resident, and I've been there since on Mesa Avenue with my neighbors, Jason Waters, and the lady who just, she's actually my new neighbor. So what was your name again? Amy, yeah. So anyhow, so just I'll be brief, just the same concerns, the sidewalks that need to be repaired. They're in really bad condition, and if we could, we noticed oftentimes drivers exceeding the speed limits on Mesa, and that is a concern, a safety, of course, safety concern for all of us, and also the four-way stop sign as well. So basically, just to sort of, corroborate what they were talking about, and that's basically the reason why we decided to come to this meeting. So thank you for allowing us the opportunity, and thank you for all your support, and especially with all those beautiful trash cans on Figueroa, that we're very thankful for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Serrano, and after Evelyn Serrano, we have Guillermo Reyes Jr.
Hi, my name is Evelyn. I'm a teacher at a local school, at a local charter school called Los Feliz Charter School for the Arts. And I just wanted first to say thank you for being here. I'm not from this country originally, and to see democracy at work is really impressive, to see all the citizens of our city here. I'm here just to share with you that our students at our Glassell Park School, we're working on a civic engagement and design thinking project that's going to be looking at the agenda of public works, the public works department, and developing design solutions for our city. So we'd love to be in dialogue with you. I know we worked with Heather last year, and that was an amazing learning experience for our children. Really what we're hoping to create is a space for children to feel like their citizenship counts, and that they can exercise their voices, even though they're quite young. So anyways, thank you, and thank you for hosting the meeting here.
Thank you, ma'am. Guillermo Reyes Jr., and after Mr. Reyes, Karen Waters.
Thank you very much for letting us be here to voice our concerns of our community here. I've been here since 1955, so it's been a long time. And we need a lot of help with our street cleanings. All over Cypress Park, especially Cypress Park Avenue, we need to get some street cleaning. There's no street cleaning at this point right now. And I think it's pretty needed along Cypress Avenue. The street repairs that's been going on, we've been after the city to work on those street repairs as everybody else has. So we need our attention on that, and the same thing with the tree trimmings, the tree trimming. So we hope that we can get some help at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Karen Waters, and after Ms. Waters, it looks like Linda Nusslein.
Hi.
Good morning. Or good evening. I'm so used to saying good morning. Good evening.
I just want to piggyback on what all my neighbors said and my husband. Mesa Avenue, cars speed up and down that street. It's a hill, so you have to really push to get up the hill and then it come down. maybe some speed bumps even. The four-way stop that we talked about at 61. We have a lot of new kids in the neighborhood. Also a lot of the sidewalks. And my house, we have our driveway. There's pictures of our driveway. We can't use our driveway. Both of our cars have been hit on our street because it's a very narrow street. We need our driveway fixed from the city so we can actually access our driveway. We have very limited parking on our street. And like within the first month of getting my brand new car, it was hit. My husband's car was hit. It's very limited up there on El Mio Drive. So I would love to get my driveway fixed so I could access my driveway with my car. And just, four-way stop is really important. There's a lot of kids in the neighborhood now. Okay. And maybe, like I said, speed bumps on Mesa because people speed up that hill.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And Linda Nusslein, and after Ms. Nusslein, Linda Lee.
Hi, I've been here in this area since 1964. I see a lot of improvements. I see investors coming into the community, and we still have a filthy, broken up Cypress Avenue, which is a reflection of the area. The roots have raised the sidewalks probably 2 feet, completely broken up curbs, and the parkway should be filled in with cement just like the rest of the parkway so that they're easier to clean. Constantly dumping, and if I was an investor, I'd keep on driving past this area. I don't even understand what's holding them here. Also, around the school, it's very depressing to be a child and walk to school when people are throwing out mattresses, trash, graffiti, and these are the future. So please consider being more tidy around the school, keeping an eye on it. I have called the principal in the past. They told me it's not their job. So thank you very much for your time, and I'd like to see some improvement in my lifetime.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Linda Lee, and after Linda Lee, we'll have Helena Spack. Go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening. I didn't want to take too much of your time. Evelyn and I thought we were going to come up and speak to you together. My name is Linda Lee. I am the principal at Los Feliz Charter School for the Arts. And I just want to put my face with the school as a person who's a partner for this neighborhood. We really have this mission for young citizens being civically engaged. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Helena Spack, and after Ms. Spack, we'll have John Schaefer.
Great. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you so much for being here this evening. My name's Celine Spach, and I am a volunteer with the Glassell Park Improvement Association. I'm here this evening to speak about the streets and roadways and the infrastructure in our hillsides. We feel that we have some very serious street failures underneath, not just berms, not just resurfacing, potentially very serious situations that we would appreciate engineering coming out and taking a look at, particularly before the real El Niños hit us. There's no sewer systems up there. The water simply runs all the way downhill and splatters where it may and usually collects down on our main collector streets into huge puddles. As we recall in the years past when we've had big rainfalls, and we've had hillside failures as well, and we've had red-tagged homes in that area. We have many streets that do not meet the minimum 20-foot width, and some of those streets people feel have become actually dangerous. And we would love the attention in these hillsides to be proactive, to look at that now as opposed to when something serious happens. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. After John Schaefer, we'll have Robert Campagna. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm John Schaefer. I've been here almost 10 years. I own a house on Isabel Street on Mount Washington. I love my neighborhood, and I'm grateful for the effort that goes into the daunting task of maintaining our vast infrastructure, for the abundance of parks and recreation facilities in our area, and the excellent waste management service we receive. Thank you. I have an amazing view from about halfway up Mount Washington above Cypress Avenue that encompasses Griffith Observatory to the west and County USC to the east. When fireworks are displayed at Dodger Stadium, it's in my living room window. As wonderful as that is, I am exactly across from a towering utility pole with approximately 30 wires shooting out from in all directions. One of the wires cuts across our front yard less than 5 feet off the ground to my neighbor's roof. A couple of years ago, workers came along and installed a big street light on the pole that shone right into our living room window. Councilman Cedillo's office helped me to have a visor placed around the light to soften that a bit, so thank you. It was an improvement, but I'm puzzled as to why I visit friends in the Hollywood Hills just across the way who don't even have as good a view as we do, and their wires are not buried, or are buried, excuse me. Our power goes out frequently, causing us to have to reset our clocks. And worse, one of the surges resulted in all the dimmer switches in my house going out, and it cost $400 to have them repaired. I had protectors on my outlets, but never thought I'd have to have them on the dimmer switches. I'm told that if they're buried, the lines are buried, that we don't have as many outages. Another very real concern is that the power pole leans very noticeably toward our house, and I'm concerned that an earthquake could send it toppling onto our garage. What would it take to have the wires buried as they are in other parts of our cities? We pay taxes and utilities the same as them. Why are we different?
Thank you, sir. Robert Campagna, and after Mr. Campagna, Noemi Garcia. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity to speak. Thanks for being here. I am also a volunteer of the GPIA, along with Helene Schbach, who spoke earlier. And I guess the main comment I wanted to address to you guys today is that I am a user of the 311 app. I was very happy when it was able to become something I could do on my phone rather than spend 10, 20 minutes on the phone with someone. I could actually just push a button or two and the graffiti abatement unit would be there. Recently, however, I went away for 3 weeks, and when I came back, the site was revamped. I've had a lot of trouble now figuring the site out. I'm relatively tech savvy, so I'm wondering if it's difficult for myself, someone else who's maybe not so savvy would even have such a harder time. But in the past, 311 would send me basically an email saying your request has been received, your request has been approved, and once the graffiti or the bulky item or whatnot had been picked up, it would send me confirmation that it had been picked up. Now I don't hear anything from the graffiti side of things, although it still does get removed. They don't basically communicate. Also, bulky items, I would just walk the dogs, and anytime I could, I would just try to maximize a dog walk with seeing a mattress on the street, and I would report a bulky item or an illegal item. I guess they're technically saying now you can't report a bulky item unless it belongs to you. Please report it as an illegal item or illegal dumping. So it's just starting to get a little confusing. I see that the infrastructure of the website and the technology has made some strides, but I think it needs to be relooked at and maybe can be improved slightly so that people like myself who try to report and do what they can in their limited time can continue to use the 311 app and really be happy with it and make their community a better place in the most efficient way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good evening. Twice. Good evening.
Oh, I'm a resident. I grew up in this area, Cypress Park. I live on Thorpe Avenue, and this morning I sent Mr. Jose Rodriguez pictures of the corner of Thorpe and Aragon Avenue. This has been a long issue where, like everyone else, the routes, the sidewalks, the city did come and put the black tar on that area, which is in front of 3348 Thorpe, but it's still bad. I mean, you can't even get strollers through there, a wheelchair can't pass, the people go around because it's really bad, the tree. And actually also on Aragon Avenue on that corner, the 900 West has a lot of issues. That entire block is cracked. Some pieces don't even have curbside on it, and there's trees that's overgrown. Also, I just wanted to reiterate what other people have said. We do need urgently street cleaning on Cypress Avenue, like from Future, especially from Future all the way to Division. There's no street cleaning. It's like a dump site there. And then also the trees. I don't know who's in charge of tree cutting, trimming, but they're doing a horrible job because you should see the shapes that they make. They kind of go through the light, the cables. You know, they don't go further down and get rid of a lot. It's very dark there. I see other areas that the trees are nicely trimmed, but here they're in all shapes and sizes. And I think it's pretty easy to prune the trees, just, down once a year or twice a year, and that would bring more lighting, because we don't have any lighting there. So maybe when there's more lighting, we won't have people dumping on that street that actually needs to be cleaned too. So that's what I just wanted to stress my block. I mean, that
2 minutes.
corner is horrible. So if you can do something, I've sent the information to Mr. Rodriguez with pictures. So I
Thank you,
would
ma'am.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Alejandra Cortez and Marcus Gutierrez. Alejandra Cortez and then Marcus Gutierrez. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Alejandra Cortez. I'm part of the neighborhood council here at Cypress Park, but I'm here representing myself as a constituent. I want to just talk also about Cypress Avenue. Sadly, you guys can't see it right now because it's dark, but if you would take a stroll down, you would see the trash. There's no sweeping, so people started dumping things. The sidewalks are lifted. When I'm going on a run, it's a great obstacle course, like trying to get to the park. But right now, with strollers and wheelchairs, that's not the case. So it's becoming a problem. And then also, these solar trash cans, we did not see them here at Cypress Park. I am meeting with Jose on Friday because the neighborhood council did fund $3,000 to put trash cans, but sadly I feel like that might be taking away from other projects that we could do for trash cans that we have. But that's my personal opinion. I'm just saying, like I said, I'm here as a constituent, but I'm glad I'm meeting with Jose and we're going to talk about this issue. And then I just want to thank also community members that put on cleanups like Friends of Cypress Park, KYCC, United for Anila, who are community members volunteering to stay Cypress Park clean. So hopefully we can see Cypress Avenue, a great center, heart of Cypress Park community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Marcus Gutierrez. Marcus Gutierrez. Oh, okay. Your podium, sir. And after Mr. Gutierrez, Susan Rocha.
I too am a longtime resident here. I came in 1976, I think. So I've seen a lot of changes here at Cypress Park. I was with the original group that brought the state park here, the Coalition for State Park, and then also we helped bring in the school. So that alone in our Veterans Memorial that you'll see is that we keep that up and maintain it as a community effort. Okay. Our councilman does help us with the events and stuff that go there. So I have a long time investment in here. I have 3 sons. They're all great. They've all gone to college. I have a graduate from Carnegie Mellon. He's doing great, working for Lockheed Martin. And I have another boy that we graduated from the School for Maritime Science over in San Francisco. And I have a boy that's still going to school, but he's working as a for the city as a steam plant mechanic, but he does all the hiring and he also does the training and he's 32. They're all born here in Cypress Park. So with that, I would say we have been struggling with the issue with the sidewalk for many, many years now on Cypress. They've repaired in segments. The first big push was done under Mike Hernandez. It went from the Divine Savior Church all the way to Arvia, and then it stopped. And then under Ed Reyes's, they did a couple of streets. But I have some pictures here, so this is how old it is. I have some Polaroids right here that show residents coming from the market down here, the Super 8 market, where they have to go down the shop, and they show them in the street, and they coming off the street and back onto wherever the sidewalk is. And that is a thoroughfare, and it's
2 minutes.
So that's one thing, the sidewalk repair. The other thing is the lighting here. The lighting seems to stop around Elm Street. Doesn't get as intense as the from Elm all the way up. They put a lot of different lighting in there, but there's virtually on the west side of Cypress, there's 1 or 2 lights. And they're blocked by the high growth of all the trees. When they do trim, they should trim them down real deep, real severe. Or what I recommended years ago, that they'd actually take the lighting and extend out the poles, because you're not going to stop the trees from growing. Okay.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. One other thing can I have just 1 other minute? I have a list of this was done in June the 5th, June the 8th, 2015. We stopped because of the killings that were going on and shootings and stuff. But there's 58 addresses here for bulky items when we did that one sweep through that 1 week. And each one of these have 2, 3, 4, 1 to 4 different things, from toilets to mattresses to broken down things. That's a lot in 1 week. And then we have in June the 15th, the next week, okay?
Sir, you have 30 more seconds. We have additional speakers.
Okay, we have 65.
Okay.
So that issue with having no parking on one side of Cypress for cleaning, because around all the thing with the storm drains, and on the other side, Division, Cypress, and Figueroa need to be addressed with no parking for street cleaning so they can see the bulky items out there and all of the streets do not become sewer.
Thank you, sir. And by the way, just so you know, our agenda item tonight, I do want to just run through the agenda quickly with everyone before we go to the next speaker so you'll know what you're going to hear more detail on. Reports on the sidewalk repair program, the overview of street services, including repairs, sweeping, and tree trimming, street lighting improvements and technology, the Clean Streets Initiative and waste pickup schedules for the Bureau of Sanitation, our One Water program, a brief oral report on the project labor agreement status update, and graffiti abatement and community beautification services. Ms. Rocha, go ahead.
Okay. My issue is noise, which I don't hear anybody speak about. I came into this problem because of Divine Savior Catholic Church at 610 Cypress Avenue, and they put up 4 loudspeakers, which blast their tape recordings, off-key tape recordings at that, into my home 8 times a day, every day. I've been fighting it ever since. After my first interview with Channel 7, Father Marco took me to court. Unfortunately, I did fight back and I won. But that's a very mean, cruel thing to do and a very low thing to do. You know, to shut me up just because I don't want their noise, and I've been trying to stop it ever since. I believe I have the right to peace and quiet in my own home, but I get very little support to try to stop the noise and get peace and quiet in my own home, and I pay the taxes and they don't. Okay? I just recently did an interview with NBC. It's at NBCLA.com, and you could Google my name. And I need for one law to change because the city attorney's office says that they have an exemption, LAMPC Chapter 11, Article 5, Section 115, and I'm asking for that exemption to be removed because it's a lie. Stop the lie. There is no exemption. They can use this as an excuse. LAPD, Noise Enforcement Team, the LA City Attorney's Office uses this little piece in the code of exemption, which are not exempt, to do nothing. So I'm still fighting for my peace and quiet in my own home. I don't want to hear 4 loudspeakers. I don't want to hear their off-key church bells, their off-key church music, and whatever else that they feel like blasting in my home.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anthea, it looks like Anthea Raymond, and after Ms. Raymond, Manuel Martinez.
Hi, I'm a native Angelino, but I've only lived in Cypress Park for a year and a half. I live at the corner of Jeffries Avenue and West Avenue 26. Every morning I go out on my patio and I see the wonderful sign for the LA River Center. I also see hundreds of people walking to school, taking public transportation, etc. It's a very busy street. It's a very used street, and I would love, my personal project is to pick up 50 pieces of trash a day, and I have no problem doing that. So I would just, 3 recommendations. I'd love to see speed bumps there, I'd love to see trash cans there, and I'd love to see a 4-way stop sign or some sort of crosswalk over to the LA River Centers, because people do go there quite a bit. So it's a wonderful place, but it's busy, and it should be better controlled. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Manuel Martinez? Mr. Martinez? Card just recently came in. Mr. Martinez? Okay, Mr. Herman. Oh, Mr. Martinez? Mr. Herman.
Which one of us?
General public comment. Go ahead and start him.
No, you get started when I get up here. That's the problem, Kevin James.
You become a poverty pimp to this community. They should be heard. They're here for reasons, Kevin James. In your white community, you don't have broken sidewalks. You don't have excessive tree growth. So you're going to just relax till people get to the podium and speak. Don't violate my rights or discriminate against me because of my brown fucking skin. Okay? 54954.3C, the Brown Act. Let's practice it more so people in this community can have active voice here. Now, the issues regarding the American Disability Act is something all of you can work with. All of you can file a complaint with the Federal Highway Administration. You don't have to be disabled to get your sidewalks fixed. In order to get these bullies to participate under Wiltz versus Los Angeles for $1.4 billion that they owe you brand new sidewalks and repairs to our streets. The major issue of our problems is infrastructure. Major infrastructure, meaning sidewalks and streets. And I know a lot of you are getting older. Some of you have some issues with walking and stiffness. This is the time to speak up because the future is yours to speak up here today and let them be aware of your rights under the American Disability Act. And if you're not sure about it, go to ada.gov. Now, again, we participate in meetings constantly because of the programmatic access, which deny you access to sidewalks and streets. Even just to cross the street is dangerous nowadays. But because the city attorney, here's a good example, sits on his ass and doesn't push for the SOTA corridor to be opened up on a public sidewalk for pathway and travel use, all of you have to look at eyesore on a daily basis. Why? Because to commute from the city of LA into this area and any other area north, you see the eyesore.
2 minutes.
And so the whole issue tonight
Thank you,
is
Mr. Herman.
because the one that bitches the most gets the grease. The squeaky wheel gets its grease, and I'm going to squeak here all night.
Thank you, Mr. Herman.
This community, and I believe in every point that they're pointing out about the poor activity of your programs, benefit, and
Thank you, Mr. Herman.
fall under our civil rights and our civil community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Spindler.
It all starts with doing your job. I was just at City Hall today. Where was Gil Cedillo at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock at the Energy and Environment Committee? They just raised our rates Tuesday in a DWP meeting for 5 years. They rammed it through. 5 years. And they say at this meeting tonight by Chairman Felipe Fuentes that they're going to reform the DWP along with the rate hike. 5 years they're going to raise our rates. It's going to raise everybody's bill every month for electric. They're also going to raise our water rates because they mailed all of you a little notice in the mail, and that notice contains the right to stop it, but it's buried and it's not written in English and Spanish. It's only written in English. All you have to do is send a letter to where Gilbert Cedillo works. But is he going to tell you this? No. Are they going to tell you this? No. Because they have to steal $3.5 billion because they are behind the repairs by $3.5 billion. They got to keep stealing the money. And that's why they put us through all this crap. That's why they're here tonight. They're here tonight because they're trying to cover their ass. And what they're trying to do is they're going to ram that rate hike. You're going to get those bills starting in February, March, April. You're going to see a bill you've never seen before in your life, and they're going to say, we didn't do it, the DWP did it. Gilbert Cedillo does not attend his meetings. He takes people's speaker cards and throws them in the trash. Then he gets up, and he's all arrogant. But over here, he wants to walk in and shake your hand. So how about it? Are we going to have a rate hike? Stop the goddamn rate hike. And there's time to do it. You can do it now. Stop this rate hike. This is unfair. Gas prices are falling. We should be paying less money for electric.
2 minutes.
But these bastards want to raise our rates for 5 years in advance. No utility in the United States does that. Only 3 years maximum is state
Thank you, Mr.
law.
Spindler. Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Thank you, sir. Agenda item go to oral reports. Agenda item number 9 is sidewalk repair program update, Bureau of Engineering. Before we start, Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 9.
Qué desgraciados que vienen en este lugar para decir que van a hacer reparaciones de acersas. So in plain English, because we're bilingual in this community, Cypress, Boyle Heights, and we're even going to take the shit from people coming in here and giving us a donkey show, as I put it very clear, Mr. President. Because once again, the baboonish action of all of you representing this community is a result of poor judgment. Public criticism is a bitch. And that's how we have to bring it out in order for us to be heard through Miss Penny to get to the mayor, Eric Garcetti, who has not provided us programmatic access for our sidewalks and streets. Do you want another lawsuit? Because everyone in here can file a lawsuit saying that their sidewalk and streets, by their tax dollars, their registration tags for their cars will be parked on a public fucking street, can't park their car on there because there's potholes. And how long do you have to wait? 311, 311. Sorry, but we're full. Please call back later. So the point tonight is get those repairs started as we speak. You've heard many complaints regarding the infrastructure of sidewalk and streets. FHWA will respond when you complain about these issues, because my next lawsuit is going to be against the issues of programmatic access that you continue to deny the public who are disabled, who are elderly. Los pinche cabrones que ganan van a vivir, and I'm one of them. I'm ready to fucking die in the street because I'm tired of walking through potholes. I'm sick of it. Where the curbs build up with water and you can't even cross with your child. I'm almost finished, sir. You don't have to announce it. I know my time.
2 minutes.
Asshole.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler, you have a card on number 9.
Yes, let's see. Item 9, the development of a material recovery facility. Now, see, normally the prior speaker, you'd be sticking your nose in there going, "You're not on the topic. Stay on the topic. I'm going to throw you out of the meeting." But not before a crowd. Where's the city attorney? The prior speaker's talking about shit that is not germane to 9, right? So why aren't you in there jumping in? You always do it when you got your thugs around at the regular meeting. So what's so special about now? Because you guys decide whatever you want. You're like the Addams family. We do what we want, we say what we want, and we say what we want, and we do what we want. We're the City Hall family. We do what we want, we say what we want. We do what we say what we want. We're the City Hall family. We got all your money, we stole all your money. Well, we got all your money, we do what we want. We say what we want whenever we want. The law is what we decide. We're the City Hall family. That's what you are, the City Hall family. La familia mafioso. That's what you are. Okay. And you guys are going to put this thing, we're in CD10? Why is an item in CD10 on an agenda when we're here in CD1? What does CD10 have to do with CD1? Because you're mixing issues that are not germane to CD1. This is all the way in CD10. 6001 West Jefferson Boulevard is not in CD1. It's in CD10. So stick to the CD1 issues so we talk about this community tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. On agenda item number 9, Carl Nelson.
Scott Baskin's going to be giving the presentation.
Scott. Good evening, sir.
take the lens cap off when you get a chance also. There's a sidewalk program right next to it. There we go. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. I am Scott Bassigan. I am an engineer with the Bureau of Engineering, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sidewalk Repair Program. On February 3rd, Council authorized staff to begin repairs adjacent to city facilities of sidewalk. They also identified the Bureau of Engineering to be managed, the program to be managed by the Bureau of Engineering with support from our partners in Contract Administration, Bureau of Street Services, and the Office of Community Beautification. In your handout, you will notice that there are 3 reports. The first report identifies the steps that we took when we began the program and what we currently take to deliver the program. That includes the assessment of the sites. It includes preparation of an engineer's estimate, bid forms, and then we bid it out for construction. Each of these reports has a log of the sites, of the city facility sites. You may notice on the 3rd report that it was reported that 129 sites had been completed as of November 2015. I have an update, and as of this day, we have completed 146 construction at city facility sites. So let's take a look at some of those. Here you can see this is actually Parque de Mexico in CD1. The repairs that were made there. I apologize, the PowerPoint's not fitting very well on the screen. This is Montecito Heights, another facility in CD1 where we did repair sidewalk. Provided a chain link fence, very difficult to see there, to protect people from rolling down the slope. This is another site that was repaired as part of the program. Due to tree damage, we were able to save the tree and increase tree well. And this is El Pueblo de Los Angeles, a very historic site that most folks are familiar with, where we repaired the sidewalk, widened the sidewalk to provide additional pedestrian access, and increased the tree well size to save the trees. This is another shot of El Pueblo de Los Angeles along Cesar Chavez. With that, I'll honor any questions you may have. Thank you.
Always any questions? Anything? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Before we go to agenda item number 10, I had a card for public comment that was put into the cards for the numbered agenda items, so I missed you. Larry Castruita? Sorry, sir. Had your card.
I'm really excited to be here. Larry Castrita. I live at Puerto del Sol, which is a condominium complex right next to the Gold Line Cypress Park Station. The Gold Line Cypress Park Station is a major public transit conduit for the community. There's heavy traffic to and from, not only from the Gold Line, but also since there's repairs to other streets, we're getting an overflow of traffic. They're actually, I'm also a board member of the Homeowners Association, so I actually really care about our community, and I really want to uplift it and beautify it, and also improve safety. So I used to live in Silver Lake, so coming from Silver Lake, it's night and day. I mean, I have to be very, very honest about that. I plan to live here, at least for the medium term and hopefully the long term. But right now, there's a lot of issues. One is on Humboldt and Avenue 26, we need street lights. Right now, the traffic is extremely heavy. Unfortunately, yesterday there was an older lady. She got hit by a car at 7 p.m., hit and run. And she most likely was going to the senior housing, which we live. It's an AmCal project. It's part of the revitalization where I live. And she got hit, and she was coming from the supermarket. And Also, to light services, there was one of the lights was off, right on Artesian and Avenue 26. We were told from one of my fellow board members that there is works for the street lights to be installed there, but we haven't seen it yet. So a second is between Avenue 21 and Avenue 23. It's a corridor, freeway overpass between Alta Lofts and Puerto del Sol.
2 minutes.
And we need street services to pave the street, as well as also street cleaning, regular street cleaning. I was told by Marco from Street Services that I need to talk to Cedillo to get that implemented. And lastly, I just want to say the gutter underneath Cypress the Gold Line got flooded, and it impacted 8 of our units. 8 of our units got flooded, and there's a lot of trash going there. There's also a homeless guy living there, and his mattress got there and probably contributed to that. So it can cost the city a lot of money, as well as homeowners, and that's one of the reasons why I'm also bringing that up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to agenda item number 10, overview of street services, improvements, repairs, sweeping, and tree trimming from the Bureau of Street Services. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 10.
Well, I could tone it down because I believe I reached out to all of you who wanted to say the same thing that I had to say for you on your behalf. But the issue of improvements and repairs are well needed. We can't take it out on the homeless population due to the fact that we know that the city of Los Angeles created the war on homelessness. And so, as a matter of improvements, we need to seek the mayor's help. While the mayor is out visiting different cities, he's forgetting and neglecting his home, your home, the taxpayer's home, the ratepayers. So, Mr. President, I'm going to hold my time to 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler, you have a card on number 10.
Right. Well, we have street services. What great improvements, repairs, and sweeping and tree trimming we have right over here. Oh, the street's spotless over here, isn't it? See, you have to learn the first rule of politics. Cover your butt. You should have been over here cleaning all of this up a couple of days ago so that when everybody came here, your puppet and dog show would look much better. You know, you would look a lot better. But you're getting sloppy. You guys are losing your touch. You're losing your grip. You know the day is coming when we're going to find out what you're really going to do about this stuff. And that's why that rate hike has to be stopped, because that money's got to stop coming in here until we know what you really did with the money and why this place looks like this. You got enough money to fix this place. You couldn't even fix it. You had 3 days. It looks like garbage. You can't even fix it in the place you're holding the meeting. Shame, shame, shame.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Lorenzen on Bureau of Street Services.
Good evening, everybody. Ron Lorenzen, Bureau of Street Services, and I just want to thank you all for inviting us here tonight. We much appreciate it at the Bureau of Street Services, and we also realize that many of the issues that you have brought forth here tonight actually impact the Bureau of Street Services. The Bureau of Street Services has 4 core services. Those include the Pavement Preservation Program, which most of you would probably know as a resurfacing program. They include the Investigation Enforcement Division, who does the public right-of-way enforcement of the laws related to the public right-of-ways in the city of Los Angeles. We also are in charge of the street cleaning program, and real quickly, the street cleaning program has 2 components so that you can understand the difference between those streets that are actually posted, that are supposed to receive a weekly sweeping, as opposed to those that are not posted. We call it posted and a restricted sweeping program areas. For the most part, the streets in this area are posted, but I don't believe Cypress has been brought forward a few times. I do not believe that Cypress is a posted street. I will get with the council office and we can discuss those issues with them to determine ways that we can possibly work on that in the future. There haven't been any streets added to the restricted program for over 12 years. So this could be a challenge for us, but we will certainly work with the councilman's office to see what we can do about making those things change. The last thing is the emergency oversight of the urban forest, the street tree population, and I'm very specific here saying it's the emergency response because of the city's financial problems in the mid-2000s. Much of the proactive tree pruning was had to be reduced drastically, and so trees have been deferred. The maintenance has been deferred. In the last 2 years, thank goodness to the mayor and the council, the amount of money funded for tree pruning has increased significantly. The tree pruning cycle has dropped from a very, very, very high level to just around 20 years now, which is still really not an acceptable level, but way better than it's been. So I just want to compliment not only the councilman's office, but all of the council and the mayor's office for starting to increase our tree pruning. We do provide emergency services for tree-related issues, and those are the 4 core programs. Again, that's pavement preservation. Pavement preservation is done with 2 things, the asphalt resurfacing program and the slurry seal program. Those are the 2 programs that help preserve the street system in the city of Los Angeles. And last year, we actually preserved 2,400 lane miles of the city street system. And there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 25,000 lane miles in the city. So it's a big, big system. So anyhow, we're happy to be here again, and thank you for letting me address some of these issues.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Lorenzen? Thank you. Going to agenda item number 11, oral report on street lighting improvements and technology from the Bureau of Street Lighting. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 11.
So you heard earlier during public comment, many of the Cypress residents, your constituents, have asked you to improve the lighting. You can drive anywhere around here and you'll find dark areas that not many of us would like to go or maybe walk our children through. But it's time that you stop creating these improvement districts and giving them lighting first and using our taxpayer dollars to fix our own lighting in our community. Jose Huizar is great at that, and so is some other elected officials who I will not mention, but maybe later on when I talk about items under Chipmunk, Councilman in District 7. I hold my time to 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Susan Rocha? On number 11. Good evening, ma'am.
Well, again, I don't have a category, but I would like to bring 2 other noise issues to your attention. One is at the bus station right here at Avenue 28, and the buses run and they idle and they all pull out at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we have apartments right here across the street that have to hear the buses coming in and out, and it's a bus station. I mean, the MTA bus station right here. And what I would like is for those residents, within a certain amount of feet, would be provided soundproof windows, because they have to hear the buses in the middle of the night, in the morning, leaving, all the time. And the other thing is Union Pacific train horns, because they blow the train horns all the time. And, in the middle of the night, anytime they feel like, and MTA. But anyways, Union Pacific can put it in a quiet zone, which Orange County and a lot of other places across the country have put in. And so I'd like to see if somebody could take that on with Union Pacific, because there are ways. We have no crossings here. There are no streets here where the trains go, and quiet zones could be put in. And so I'm looking for peace and quiet in different areas of noise that we could do if somebody would take on these kind of projects. And it's just a quality of life issue.
Thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
On agenda item number 11, Mr. Spindler, you have a card.
Yes, the city train wreck. Woo-hoo. That's right. The Bureau's street lighting improvements. I love how our little friend over here says, I can't do it. No, it has to be like the commercial. Just do it. list all these repairs you need, and just do it. Because that's City Hall's motto. When you're a campaign donor, you just do it. You need a zoning variance, you want to build an 8-story hotel next to a 1-bedroom house, you just do it. So just do it. Take these complaints down. Whatever these people need for lights, 1 week from today, just do it. No excuses. No crap. No laws. Let's just get it done. Let's do it.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. On number 11, Mr. Chang.
Good evening, Fabian Cheng of the Bureau of Street Lighting. I have a really short presentation for the Bureau of Street Lighting. The Bureau of Street Lighting is in charge of the design, construction, and maintenance and operation of over 215,000 street lights in the city of Los Angeles. CD1 has 8,934 street lights that we operate and maintain in your council district. Here's the map of the council district. One of the improvements that we have done throughout the city, specifically in the council district 1, has been the conversion of the street lights to new LED, which are more efficient, save a lot of energy and provide better lighting for the streets and the sidewalk. And out of those, we have converted about 6,848 street lights. The remaining lights from the 8,000 or so lights that are within the district that haven't been converted are mostly those of pedestrian lights and some specialty lights along Figueroa Corridor, which are of another light source. In addition to that, last year for the single light outage repairs, we did 717 repairs within the council district. And the total repairs completed in 2015 come up to 982. Those repairs include the single light outages, multiple light outages, any post hits, any vandalism, any other issues, electrical issues within the street lighting infrastructure. Leading up to that, there's wire theft incidents completed in 2015, specifically in this area or this district. 38 incidents which affected 157 street lights just over the last year, which has been quite low in comparison to other previous years. As it was mentioned earlier, our bureau is very diligent in trying to address these issues, but they do take some time. Usually they're completed within a couple of weeks, where we go and replace the wiring. And in doing so, we also secure the pull box or the access boxes with special lids. We seal them and put special bolts, and nobody can tamper with that infrastructure. I briefly wanted to mention a couple of things also about the technology that the Bureau is currently working on. We're working on installing special remote monitoring devices on each of the streetlights in the city, where we're going to get instantaneous reports of any light outages as they happen. So in the past, mostly we relied on the constituents to call 311 or our office to report these street light outages, but as we move forward with this new technology, we'll be able to get reports every day, and we'll be able to take care of those outages as they happen. In addition to that, in the first picture you saw, we have some solar installations in the street lights, which actually are capturing some of the sun's energy and feeding it back to the grid. So I'll put the picture back. It's one of those lights, and those you have along North Broadway. And this area was one of the first areas which we implemented this technology, and as we move forward, we're deploying this throughout the city as well. Thank you.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Thank you, Fabian. I just wanted to also ask if you could share a little bit about the smart pole technology that's being rolled out in various parts of the city.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, indeed, we are on the forefront on doing something new that has never been done in the U.S., which is combining the street lighting infrastructure with cellular technology. Cellular carriers came up with a new design where all these antennas that you will see attached to poles or utility poles are now hidden within the street lighting pole. I don't have a picture of that, but essentially all these antennas and repeaters and electronic equipment now it's going to be housed within the street lighting pole, and there won't be a need for any additional cabinets in the right-of-way. So that eliminates the clutter in our sidewalks and actually combines everything. It's more of a streamlined approach, and it has been well received by the mayor's office and throughout the city. And I think it's good because it reduces that clutter, and it just looks a better integration of the resources that we have, the infrastructure for street lighting.
Thank you, Fabian. Any further questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving to agenda item number 12, the Clean Streets Initiative update and the waste pickup schedules. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 12. Mr. Herman passes. Mr. Spindler on number 12. Mr. Spindler passes. Leo Martinez or Dan Myers, whichever. Mr. Martinez, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I just need my presentation up and I'll begin. Good evening, everyone. President James, fellow commissioners, bureau reps, community, thank you for allowing us to come here and help you understand some of the services that are available to you. Hopefully after tonight you'll be a little bit more educated on how to get the services and what we're actually doing. My name is Leo Martinez. I'm the AGM for LA Sanitation Operations Group. And I'm here to talk about CSI. CSI is a Clean Streets Initiative that was officially launched by Mayor Garcetti April 2014. There's several programs that encompasses CSI. If you look at and I know the lighting's kind of bad, but if you go to your right, you'll see some photos of illegal dumping. Some of the things that some of you have talked about, illegal dumping, that also occurs in alleys as well. Further down below, you'll see some of the things that with the street receptacles that some of you have discussed. I heard a couple complaints, and I got the gentleman's information. And of course, we got a street assessment program, and
Just point it over here.
how do you do that?
Just point it over here.
See? Oh, they're running all right?
I'll do it for you.
Okay.
You just tell me.
All right. CSI right now has 3 strike teams. Each team has about 9 members to it. It's like a little train different. We start with the inspectors that go in and check for needles or any kind of illegal waste or bio waste. And then, of course, we have our other groups that come in and start legally removing all of the waste that you can see. On this side here, we have the street receptacles. There's 4 different receptacles that we have up here. The far top left is our ALB. Below that is our ALB recycling container. To the far right is the big belly that some of you have mentioned. And I know Councilman Cedillo has purchased some of those. These are his in CD1. And above that is a white wire basket. So those are the 4 different types of city containers that we have throughout the city. Now, as far as the street receptacle program, this year we're going to deploy 1,250 citywide, and we're mapping out and geocoding the entire, all the inventory of all the containers, regardless of who's responsible. This first time has anybody done that? So we have currently about 7,000, close to 7,500. By the time we're done, we'll be closer to 8,000 containers citywide, and that's regardless of responsible for servicing. We have it all geocoded and mapped. So if you click on it, it'll tell you what container it is and who's responsible for it. The one that I got earlier, I'll be doing that. I'll be servicing, sanitation will service it tomorrow morning, but we'll also get him the information as to who's actually responsible for that container. And that's the first time anybody's done that. You can skip that. Now, this is some of the things that we're dealing with, bulky items, our mass balance. That means that anytime you call sanitation, we are servicing we promise that in your service day, we will service that. And right now we're at 99%. Typically, our service promise is over 95%. That means that typically on a given day, you have anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000, depending on the season. Every single day they come into sanitation. This is a CSI tonnage. The slide is a little bit, but anyways, this month here is the month of December. The crews that I just spoke about earlier collected over 780-something tons this last month from illegal dumping citywide. I mean, Ali, some of the things that you talked about. And you look at and this graph here talks about the backlog, what the CDs are. The brown is more of the illegal dumping. The lighter shade has to do with homeless encampments. So you'll see what the problems are in all the CDs that across the board, across the city. So now, one of the things that the mayor has asked us to do is to clear the pre-existing backlog that dated back to 2010. It was 41,000 plus. We went and inspected and closed and collected each and every one of them, so that part of it is completely completed. This is the customer care center. When you call us, right now the wait time is less than a minute. You see on the far right. It was a little higher. We've made some adjustments, added more staffing, changed some of the hours. But now if you call our customer care center, we will, right now the longest you have to wait is just under a minute. So. And that's my last slide. Thank you. Hopefully you have some questions for me later or now. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Leo before we move on to Dan? Commissioner Rodriguez. Commissioner Rodriguez.
Leo, I have a quick question. Just to the gentleman's point about the MyLA 311 app and the differentiation on the pickup that now has to be indicated, could you provide some context for why that is on the app?
Well, some of the, we're working on updating and kind of clearing some of the confusion up. But when you call and report your bulky item, we know it's yours. If somebody else, if you're driving down the street and we're having, like the gentleman said, he's jogging or walking, residents are just reporting bulky items wherever they are, wherever they may be. That kind of goes into the illegal dumping category. But we'll figure out how to make that a little bit easier. I know there's some challenges there, but that's the difference. Primarily.
Thank you.
I had the lady behind you.
Let's do this for the questions. Ms. Raymond, are you Ms. Raymond? Do you have a question on this?
Well, we currently have just a little over 1,000. We're going to deploy 1,250 this year, and over the next 5 years we'll be little over 5,000. And we'll have a street assessment. We'll go out and look at the conditions of the street, and we'll go ahead and deploy those based on the need, not so much where it's at. You could have 100 here and maybe 10 in another CD, depending on what the conditions are. But we do have a street assessment system that we're going to go, and it's going to help us assist on where these containers are deployed. We have crews that are out there grading the streets, and they're looking at what are the issues in that street. It could be litter, it could be weed abatement, or it could be illegal dumping or homeless encampments. Whatever that is, we're tracking all that information, and based on that information, we'll go ahead and deploy those containers.
On the issue of city serviced trash cans in the public right-of-way, as Leo mentioned, we do have some that were, over the next 4 years, the mayor is committed to providing new trash cans. We're trying to put them where we have the most need, But if you have locations that you'd like to suggest, you're welcome to email me. And I would suggest in coordination with your council office, because we're really coordinating with council offices on their suggestions since they are out in the field in their district. But we're happy to take those recommendations for new locations. Okay, thank you.
Sir, are you Mr. Martinez? Does Mr. Martinez have his hand raised? Okay, go ahead, sir. Did you have your hand raised?
I have two questions here, one.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And I saw, ma'am, your hand. Yes, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Martinez. Leo, go ahead.
Yes, we're currently working together right now with street services and other bureaus on the enforcement issue. We recognize that is a problem. We had sent out many handouts to all the apartment managers to give out to the tenants when they do move out, how to properly dispose of those items. And so we're trying to work with outreach, but then also the enforcement part of it. So that is a problem. We're working on that, and hopefully we can resolve and deal with that.
And Leo will stay as well if you have some
I'm here.
individual questions for him as well. Thank you, Leo.
Thank you.
Dan Myers?
Good evening. Dan Myers, Bureau of Sanitation. As it relates to waste pickup and waste scheduling, it's the waste hauler, Zero Waste LA. Sorry, just getting a PowerPoint presentation queued up. I'd like to start with some background as the PowerPoint gets queued up. LA Sanitation has been working very hard for a number of years on developing a new system, a system of transforming how waste hauling and recycling is handled for both the commercial and large multifamily complexes within the city of Los Angeles. In 2014, the City Council approved a new program that designed to bring a number of benefits to the community and businesses that include higher waste diversion, that's removing more trash out of our landfills and into recycling, by providing the opportunity for recycling at every single business and every single large multifamily complex in the city. It's designed to bring fair customer rates to all the businesses by providing very clear and transparent rates that will be expected, and you can go online and check exactly how your rates will look now and in the future. We're also bringing environmental benefits that include changing all of the current diesel running trash trucks that operate throughout the city into clean fuel vehicles. These are hundreds of vehicles that will be transformed through this new system. Also providing a very high level of customer service. No longer will customers have to work with their waste haulers to get, and different waste haulers, to get information on how to recycle. The city will establish a very clear outreach that will be done, multilingual outreach. The City of Los Angeles will be the primary first point of contact for any questions regarding recycling or trash service as we move forward. To get to this point, in June of 2014, the board approved the release of an RFP. That's a request for proposals for waste haulers to come in and propose to the city how they will help us achieve our goals, some of the goals that I had laid out. In response to that, the city received 15 different proposals. And I'm happy to say we've had the opportunity, as an update, to actually evaluate all 15 proposals, very great proposals. We identified 7 of those proposals to actually move forward through our process. To go back on the evaluation, very, very in-depth evaluation to make sure that the proposers that will be providing the trash service in the future actually bring everything we want to the city. And that includes not only the clean fuel vehicles that I spoke of, but also new infrastructure. New infrastructure that will support the increase in recycling, including organics and food waste. Right now, we're going through a process with those 7 proposals of actually negotiating contracts of what not only the rates will look like, but also all the details of the new franchise system. Enrique? But want to also really highlight is what we're doing concurrently with those negotiations. I spoke a little bit about the education and outreach. What we're doing right now is developing an outreach program that is designed to reach every single business, every single multifamily complex. Before a hauler will even be allowed to start collecting waste under our new program, they will have to visit every single business. They'll have to assess their waste handling and make recommendations on how to improve recycling at every single business, as well as delivering a very clear message. It won't matter if you live in the northern part or the southern part of the city. The message on recycling will be exactly the same throughout the entire city. As far as our ongoing concurrent tasks, one of the things that I really want to highlight, and we'll be coming back to our board in the early part of this year with the facility certification program. And this is very important as we talk about bringing trash out of our landfills into recycling facilities. We want to make sure that those recycling facilities are operated at the various highest standards. So we're setting standards for every single facility that will be utilized underneath this program, and we'll be bringing that program forward in the early part of this year. As far as the next steps for moving this program forward, we're looking at completing our evaluation and negotiation with all of our proposals the early part of 2016. As soon as our contracts are complete, we're looking at coming back to board the early mid part of 2016. We'll hopefully be at board back in May. But as this is a very large program, this program will also have to be considered by our mayor and city council, and we're hoping that those approvals will come in the latter part of 2016. And then transitioning to this new program of really waste diversion in the middle part of 2017. So that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions on the update of the franchise? Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 13, oral report from the Bureau of Sanitation, One Water and Stormwater Capture Update. Mr. Spindler, you have a card on number 13? Mr. Spindler passes. Mr. Herman on number 13. Mr. Herman passes. Mr. Tam, number 13, sir.
Good evening, President James and fellow commissioners and board rep. I'm glad to be here to give you some update on what we have been doing regarding water. and the service that the sanitation provides. So feel free to ask me any questions I have down the line. Let's see here. Where is the clicker?
I'll do it for you. Okay. I have it. That way I control the speed.
Okay, it's okay. I have it. I was looking at the clicker. All right.
Manager will keep it going.
So I'll talk a little bit about some of the planning effort we've been going on with One Water, and then actually get into stormwater capture. We're actually implementing a project as part of this effort. The One Water effort has been it's been going on for a few years. And the last year, we completed our first phase of basically looking at how we integrate in terms of collaborating in terms of with watershed stakeholders and what One Water is about. In terms of overall picture, the expected completion of this is early next year, and I'll go over a little bit detail next what phase one entails. Basically, our first phase that was completed last year in July, was to develop visions and goals and guiding principle, and basically had over 40 meetings getting input from community, from departments, from regulators, from just by anyone, so that we kind of get a sense of where we want to go with this. Then our current task, phase two right now, that started in September, is now taking those comments and develop specific plans and documents regarding that, especially like wastewater system, the facility plan system, and other systems in there. The sample of some of that work, I'm not going to read through everything in here, but one of the
You can.
one of the policy items that came out that kind of hit us right on the head when we were going through this and getting input was that, one of the goals for us, One Water, is to be able to save water and to meet MER's objective goals to reduce potable water the imports by 50% in 2024. So one of the things we immediately identified was that we do a lot of building, a lot of construction, but we use concrete and use potable water. So one of the things we immediately identified is that why don't we use recycled water so that we can completely cut out that part of it. So that's something that we implement right away. So a lot of the other efforts continue going on and developing with our stakeholder. So now I'm going to jump into what we actually are doing as part of this effort and some of the work that we have done with a number of partners. And I call this a stormwater capture. I know previously Leo talking about CSI. We call ours GSI, which is the Green Stormwater Infrastructure, and implemented those in order to be able for us to capture water, looking at how we comply, and look at innovation. Besides actually implementing capital project, we have a number of programmatic initiatives that was implemented. Part of this is the LID in private development, where we have the development capturing water as part of the partners with the city. As well as now we're looking at using the public right-of-way, like street, sidewalks, to be able to capture some of that water. And we already have Green Street Standard, working with our partners, engineering and other departments, to develop these standards. It's one of the first one in the nation. And right now, we also have what we call stormwater water quality standard in terms of what can you use for, and working with the health department on that. The scale of what we're trying to do with our JSS, if you kind of give you a sense of, we have regional, distributed, and institutional type of scenario. And the next slide will kind of give you those three categories, where we have the low impact development at the residential level. We have Green Street, which is at the distributed level, and the regional ones, where I'll give you example of that. The example regional, we have over 100 of these sites, mostly parks, schools, and other existing parks that we want to utilize, capture water, improvement into parks, as well as the development in new parks. For example, the next slide, the Albion Riverside Greenway Park. It came out of this effort where this site was purchased, a new park was developed. Besides providing a public amenity, underneath that ground is we're going to put in subsurface infiltration to capture water from a drain off of Imperial Albion Street, so that we could provide water to aquifer as well as reuse that water for irrigation. The other example is of our Green Streak effort, and we work very closely with Commissioner Heather, repenting on this, where we have looking at the public right-of-way, the parkways, to be able to capture water, porous pavement, and all this, and as well as in parking lot. The next slide is example of what we have done, or currently in construction right now, in the Laurel Canyon Green Street area, where we're putting in over 2,000 linear feet of parkway to capture water, but also green up the community and improve the accessibility of that street, because this is, currently, if you don't look on top, it's a unimproved street, but if you look at the bottom, this is what's going to end up, an improved street, but you also deal with water at the same time. This one's going to capture over 40 acre-feet of water, so it's one way of supplying our aquifer, as well as example of our low-impact development, cisterns and other previously, where we have even like a Lowe's or Home Depot, they put in cistern in their parking lot to capture water as part of this requirement. And it's somewhere around 20 to 50 acre-feet a year we're capturing all these low-impact development. And
I'm sorry, Wing, how much per year from
around
LID?
20 to 50 acre-feet.
Okay.
Yeah. The list that you see is just a summary of all the projects that we have. If we implement a lot of these projects in the next 5 years, you could be talking about somewhere around 40,000 acre-feet a year capturing water. So, any questions?
Any questions, colleagues, on this? All right. Thank you. Yes, sir. If you one question, go ahead if you have one.
Right. His question was, what do we put underground to be able to capture that water, or is it on surface? So a combination where we capture the water from a storm drain underground, as well as surface flow, and it gets filtered. We do some kind of pre-treatment to capture trash and other sediments, and it gets filtered into the ground and goes into the aquifer. Correct. Right. 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 Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, Wing. And if he'll stay, if anybody else has individual questions for him, he'll stay as well. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 14, project labor agreement status update, Bureau of Contract Administration. Oral report. Mr. Spindler, you had a card on number 14. Mr. Spindler passes. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 14. Mr. Herman passes. Josefina Salvador. Go ahead.
Good evening, Josefina Salvador with the Bureau of Contract Administration. I will be providing you with an overview of the project labor agreement with the City of Los Angeles. Just to give you a bit of background information, project labor agreements are designed to ensure that projects are completed efficiently, on time, and without any work stoppage, thus reducing the overall cost of the construction project. In addition, there's also a local hire component to it. So just to go through them, there is a local hire percentage of 30%, goal of 30%. We also have a local apprentice hire goal of 50% and a disadvantaged hire goal of 10%. Just to note, the city recently renegotiated the PLA. So under the new PLA, the disadvantaged criteria will now be a transitional worker criteria, which includes categories such as homelessness, as well as workers with a history in the justice system and veterans. In addition, our office also ensures that contractors are following state and federal laws and that workers are being paid the prevailing wage. When we look at the history of PLA since 2011, we have had 61 projects to date. Of these 61, 31 are closed. 26 are currently active, and 4 were advertised back in December, so those will be awarded soon. Of those projects, if you look at our overall goals, again, just a reminder, it's 30% local hire, 50% local apprentice, and 10% disadvantage. We are currently hitting 41% local hire, 67% local apprentice, and 22% disadvantage. And when you look at that as far as jobs that have been created and money reinvested into the community, we're looking at roughly $17.5 million reinvested back to Angelenos through the creation of jobs. When we look at CD1, we currently have the Los Angeles training facility for LAPD. That project is currently going on. It started in July of 2014. It was awarded at $34 million through Prop Q public fund dollars. And for this particular project, again, they're well above the goals. So they are currently hitting 46% local hire, 65% local apprentice, and 27% disadvantage. And also, when you look at job opportunities, it's cut off at the bottom, but I will go ahead and give you those numbers as well. So through this project, there have been 808 job opportunities created. 288 have gone to local workers. Of those 208 have gone to apprentices, which of 108 are local apprentices, so Angelenos working on these projects, and 102 jobs have gone to disadvantaged workers. Okay. If you are interested at all in working on this project, I would suggest you contact the program manager or the jobs coordinator for this project. His information is right there. And if you need any other information regarding PLAs or what our Bureau does, please visit our website, which is up on the board.
Thank you, Josephina. Very helpful. Anybody with questions for Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you. Jessica, thanks for your report. Would you happen to know, out of the local hires, apprentice hires, and disadvantage hires, the total hours, more or less what that is in wages and total wages?
Overall hours?
Well, that translated into total wages.
I don't have that on me. So you're speaking for overall hours, not including the local workers, or?
Reason why I asked is that I think it's a significant amount that is being put back into the local economy to workers and their families, and it would be good to sort of maybe quantify that at some point, maybe in the future.
Yes, and I don't have that, but just to give you an idea. So again, going back to, this slide. So again, we have about $136 million that have gone already of projects that are currently closed. So most of that $17 million probably is coming from that portion. The reason why I say that is because of the active projects. Half of those 13 projects are currently either just started like about a month or two ago or are about to start. So there is still a lot more dollars coming our way and potential reinvestment into the community.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item number 15, graffiti abatement and community beautification services from the Office of Community Beautification. We have a speaker card from Leslie Olimos. It's right the first time.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Cypress Park. Thank you for being here. My name is Leslie Olmos. I represent Cypress Park, but I live in Lincoln Heights on Avenue 28. And I am here today with my group. We are a group of parents, community members that are just trying to see a difference here in the community. And one of the things about beautification is that 110 bridge. It's horrible. I went to Nightingale when I was young, and I was speaking to some other people in the crowd. Cypress Park looks the same. I've been here almost all my life, and I don't really see too much improvement, and I would really love to see it. A few other things that we were talking about as well is the street cleaning, going back to that on Figueroa and on Cypress. Lighting on Isabel Street, it is very dark. Also, we need more, we really would like to see a dash, if that's possible, if that could be in some kind of talking with you guys, because we have no dash in this area, and there's a lot of people, low-income people in this area who pay a lot just to go to the market, because it's not within walking distances. Also, within our District 1, if it's possible, we could get lighted sidewalks in front of our schools. Last year, a student from Nightingale got ran over on Main, and it was a hit and run. Luckily, he didn't die, but he hasn't gone back to school yet. He's still bedridden, and that's very sad. Also, too, we have an underground tunnel on Figueroa. We would like to see that fixed up and improved so our students and the parents don't have to run with strollers across the street on Figueroa. You know, and I know they've been talking about a bike lane, but I will say I don't think it'll work in front of Nightingale. There's over 800 or 900 cars that pass by that little the crosswalk. Also, it would really be nice if we can get some dog feces bags with the signs. People tend to think in this neighborhood, in this community, that it's the city's job to pick up the feces, and they'll just let their dogs go anywhere in front of the school, I mean, anywhere, and they just walk away. So that's really awful. I'll go to my community now, Lincoln Heights. You guys are forgetting about Lincoln Heights. Lincoln Heights is falling behind so much. We are the stepchild of LA, people. Our neighborhood is very horrible. It's true. The community doesn't get involved. We need to get more involved, but that's why I'm here speaking on behalf of both. But, I mean, on Griffin Avenue, 4 to 5 middle schools and elementary schools pass through there. There's not one trash can on Griffin Avenue, okay? Also, I don't know how often they get the brush cut. It's very overgrown to the point where you have to literally go on the grass where the poop is on your strollers, and by the time you see it, it's like you're on the poop. So if somebody can really address that, let me see, what else am I missing? Humboldt and 26, please put a lighted crosswalk. There's nothing in between. People are always running against the traffic. And that's about it. Thank you so much for being here again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Susan Rocha on number 15.
We have very few trash cans in Cypress Park at all. We're lucky if we have a couple of those white old trash cans that are kind of all bent up and beat up. The corner that needs it the most is Avenue 26 in North Figueroa. That's our worst corner. But throughout the Cypress Avenue and North Figueroa, we don't have trash cans. And the ones that do, the old beat up ones that do get filled up don't get picked up. So I know Highland Park got new trash cans, but we got zero. Another thing is a problem with illegal posting of signs on the light poles, on the electric poles, which is illegal, which a lot of people in this community think it's legal, but it's not. So I tear them down, and I get chewed out about it because I'm the one cleaning up the neighborhood, and they think it's legal when it's not. And so if you can hire more inspectors so that we can cite these people and actually make some money off of it, because it's a big problem here, and nobody does anything about it, and it doesn't get cleaned up. So my two issues are the trash can and the illegal street signs. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. On number 15, Mr. Spindler, you have a card on number 15.
I'd like to thank Paul Rocks. Community beautification, so the city, free of charge, will give you paint, brushes, everything you need to clean up graffiti. You just go to the Community Beautification Services. Now, when you do this, it has to be billed to a council district. I think that this would be a good idea. Bill it to the Valley, to Studio City. Just say, bill it to CD2. Just remember that, CD number 2, Paul Krikorian, great man, and he'll take care of that for you. So do that, and we can clean up more graffiti.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. On number 15, Mr. Herman.
Well, I'd like to recognize Paul as an excellent employee for the city of Los Angeles. I've known him over 15 years. And I just want to say thank you, Paul, for providing the services you do to all our communities. And you're well worth the dollar. And I believe that Ms. Penny will go to the mayor's office pretty soon to let him know that you need a bigger budget to hire more people to combat the issue on graffiti. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Roch.
Good evening. My name is Paul Roch. I'm the director of the Office of Community Beautification. We are a part of the Board of Public Works, and commend you all for showing up and sticking around. I appreciate it to have someone to talk to at the end here. So Office of Community Beautification is involved in several different aspects of what our name entails, but I'm just going to quickly highlight two of those, our two main popular ones. The first one being the graffiti removal program. And as you saw at the beginning of the evening tonight, we honored the 4 different contractors at Service Council District Number 1. 2 of those contractors have large areas. Koreatown Youth and Community Center and LA Conservation Corps have small portions of CD1 sort of in the southern tail of the district. But combined, all those contractors together last year removed 5.1 million square feet of graffiti just from Council District Number 1 from over 91,250 locations. Citywide, we removed 30.6 million square feet of graffiti. So the most amount of graffiti removed from any particular council district last year was from Council District Number 1. As was mentioned, our office does provide free paint to any individual, property owner or resident who might want to get some paint or chemical removal to remove graffiti. We don't charge for that. We don't charge any council office, so you don't have to charge it to Council District 2 or anything like that. We will provide it. It is part of the city's ongoing budget. In addition to graffiti removal, we also work with volunteers to help coordinate and support neighborhood beautification and volunteer and cleanup events. As a council member mentioned at the beginning of the evening tonight, their district coordinates different events every other week, I believe, every other weekend. In total, we worked with and supported 45 events last year, and just Council District 1, which involved 3,132 volunteers who came out and provided 13,795 hours of volunteer service to cleaning up the various neighborhoods and communities of Council District Number 1. Those volunteers collected a total of over 6,800 bags of trash and used 140 gallons of paint to cover graffiti. So it's always been traditionally a very active council district, and I just want you all to know that the Office of Community Beautification supports your efforts and are there to work with volunteers wherever in the city of Los Angeles they want to get involved in cleaning up and improving their neighborhoods. Some of the other aspects that were mentioned tonight, as our contracts are with neighborhood, nonprofit, community-based organizations, they are involved in other things as well. We are now involved in the Clean Streets Initiative program, as was mentioned by sanitation. So in addition to doing graffiti removal, those contractors are now out there doing weed abatement, litter cleanup, some bulky item pickup as well. Because we contract with these nonprofit organizations, we're able to provide jobs to residents of the city of Los Angeles to assist in the cleaning up and beautification of the city. We have over 100 people who are employed on a full-time basis through the 13 different nonprofits that we work with, and last year we were also able to hire over 300 summer youth workers to provide jobs for youth around the city of Los Angeles as well. So that being said, again, I thank you for being here, and that's it.
Any questions for Paul? Questions? Thank you, Paul. We appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, in the front row.
Right. It becomes who's going to run out of paint first, and we'll put on the paint, and they'll come in right over it and stuff. So you're right. The abatement is pretty much just trying to cover it up. Now, those contractors that were here tonight, Central City Action Committee, LA Conservation Corps, Koreatown Youth and Community Center, they don't just do graffiti removal. They have youth diversion and gang diversion programs that are working with young adults and helping them, if they've gotten off track, helping them to get their high school diplomas, to get jobs, to work with the youth and work with art projects to encourage them to take that energy that's maybe negatively directed, putting it on walls, put it on canvas and things like that. So you're absolutely right. Abatement is kind of what we focused on here, but it's not the only aspect. And that's why we do contract with those types of agencies. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Roach. Appreciate it. Going to agenda item, and Paul, will you stick around for a few people have questions? Thank you. Going to agenda item number 8, assessment hearing, Council District 1, Solano Avenue and Amador Place, number 1, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing scheduled for February 10th, 2016. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 8. Mr. Herman passes Mr. Spindler on number 8.
So, Solano Avenue and Amador needs lights. There's a person that has a business there called Dodger Stadium. So why doesn't the Dodgers pay for these lights instead of the poor, defenseless homeowners down there in Solano Avenue? So go to the $2.4 billion Dodgers and ask them, demand them to pay for this maintenance assessment district, because this is there to benefit ingress and egress to Dodger Stadium. These lights are for the Dodgers 90% of the time. But you're going to make homeowners pay for something that improves the Dodgers' bottom line. What a disgusting use of Proposition 218. So make these Dodgers pay for these lights. They make a lot of money. They're worth billions. So make the Dodgers pay for Solano Avenue and Amador Place. I know exactly where it is, and I know exactly why they need the lights. Stop robbing homeowners. Make the Dodgers pay for their improvements.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Go ahead, sir.
Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting. Item 8 pertains to the Solano Avenue and Amador Place number 1 lighting district, which we are creating in conjunction with the LA Unified School District's project, the redevelopment of the Solano Avenue Elementary School. The developer is required to install 2 streetlights. The lighting district consists of 2 parcels, both owned by the LA Unified School District. We have not received any objections to date from the LA Unified School District or the neighborhood. Ballots were mailed on December 23rd, 2015. Ballots must be received by the City Clerk's office by February 10th, 2016. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward this item forthwith to City Council.
Questions regarding number 8? Commissioner Rodriguez, Commissioner Jacinto.
Yes, I just want to clarify, Ruben, that the assessment will be paid by LAUSD?
That's correct. This is an LAUSD project, not a Dodgers project.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Flamenco. Commissioner Rodriguez made a motion. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 8. Any problem sending it forthwith? We'll send number 8 forthwith. Thank you for the clarification, Commissioner Jacinto. Agenda item number 7, Council District 14, Main Street and 12th Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District. Council hearing scheduled for January 27th, 2016. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 7. Mr. Herman passes. Mr. Spindler on number 7. Mr. Spindler passes. Mr. Flamenco.
Item 7 pertains to the Main Street and 12th Street Lighting District, which we are creating in conjunction with a private development project, a 587 residential condominiums within 2 new high-rise buildings and approximately 90,000 square feet of commercial offices on ground level. The developer is required to install 1 streetlight. The lighting district consists of 1 parcel. We have not received any objections to date. Ballots were mailed on December 9th, 2015. Ballots must be received at the City Clerk's office by next week, January 27th. We're requesting for the board to adopt and forward this item forthwith to City Council.
Any questions on agenda item number 7? Is there a motion on number 7 by Commissioner Rodriguez? I'll second. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 7. Any problem sending it forthwith? We'll send number 7 forthwith. Agenda item number 6 regarding Council District 7. Assessment hearing, Orion Avenue and Rayan Street, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District. City Council hearing scheduled for January 27th, 2016. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 7. I'm sorry, on number 6. Mr. Herman passes number 6. Mr. Spindler on number 6. Mr. Spindler passes on number 6. Mr. Flamenco.
Item 6 pertains to the Orion Avenue and Rain Street number 1 lighting district, which we are creating in conjunction with a private development project, a 33-unit apartment complex. The developer is required to install 1 streetlight. The lighting district consists of 1 parcel. We have not received any objections to date. Ballots were mailed on December 9, 2015. Ballots must be received by the city clerk's office by next week, January 27th. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward this item forthwith to city council.
And no objections on number 6. Is there a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez? I'll second. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Any problem sending it forthwith? We'll send number 6 forthwith. Agenda item number 2, Tarzana Encino number 1, assessment hearing for Council Districts 5 and 6. Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing scheduled for January 27th, 2016. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 2.
Now really, in Tarzana, this is what I think about Tarzana, because Sheila will agree with me. So the order tonight, I think what the people are calling on is they want better lighting. Not in Tarzana, because the meeting was drawn to us here in District 1. So we're all aware that in District 1 we have poor lighting, poor maintenance, inadequacy to maintain the maintenance of our lighting, and poor quality of lighting, which is a hinder to people who are legally blind, who suffer an impartial disability on being blind. But you don't care about their eyes, their views, to what light really is. Jose Huizar and Mr. Krikorian are very good at gentrification to put the people in the light back into the darkness. I hold my time for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler on number 2.
I just noted that the microphone's not working. Could you please call security in here for a second? I'd like to know why this microphone is not working. I asked the gentleman in the back, and he just said he told me to go fuck off. So I'd like to know what that is, please.
Mr. Herman, Mr. Spindler, you're here on number 2.
So, no. I'm just saying that, and I just asked him a question about the microphone, and the guy in the corner tells me to go fuck off.
The audience indicated that they could hear you, sir.
So why is your staff telling people to go fuck off? Can you answer that question?
You're here on number 2, Mr. Spindler.
Why are you doing that?
You can address.
Well, hold on a minute. Why is he doing that? Why is he telling me to go fuck off? I had a question. Why am I being told to go fuck off by your staff?
You can address number 2, Mr. Spindler.
Why don't you control your people? And I'm asking a point of order. Why are you people telling people in a public meeting to go F off when I'm
Spindler,
asking a point of clarification?
You're allowed to address number 2.
Yeah, so that's okay with you.
You're allowed to address number 2, Mr.
That's
Spindler.
okay with you that somebody does that on your staff, that tells somebody to go fuck off when I ask a question. That's okay with you, right? Well, on item number 2, you formed an assessment district with federal government entities. You put 1 city property in with 4 properties owned by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and mailed ballots to the physical street addresses. You did not mail it to the Obama administration or the appropriate secretary for that department. And you're going to hold an election to assess these properties thousands of dollars a year on a city street lighting. It's called the Supremacy Clause. These are federal properties. Why are you trying to build federal properties for city lights? Are you people that fucking stupid? That's federal properties. That is a federal government. You do not mail a notice to a public facility owned by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers at
2
4
minutes.
different addresses.
Thank you,
because-
Mr. Spindler. Mr. Flamenco on number 2. Mr. Flamenco on number 2.
Item 2 pertains to
Go
the
ahead, sir.
Tarzana Encino Number 1 Lighting District, which we are creating in conjunction with the Bureau of Street Lighting Initiated LED Conversion Project. For the record, only public parcels are impacted. No private parcels are included in this lighting district. The city is upgrading 49 luminaires to LED. The lighting district consists of 6 parcels. Ballots were mailed on December 9, 2015. Ballots must be received by the city clerk's office by next Wednesday, January 27th. We are requesting for the board to deny the protest. We are also requesting for the board to adopt and forward this item forthwith to city council.
Questions on number 2? Any question on number 2? Is there a motion on number 2 by Commissioner Rodriguez? I'll second it. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any problem sending it forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Flamenco. On agenda item number 3, assessment hearing, Council District 10, Wilshire Boulevard and Hobart Boulevard, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing, January 27th, 2016. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 3. Mr. Herman passes number 3. Mr. Spindler on number 3. Mr. Flamenco on number 3.
Item 3 pertains to the Wilshire Boulevard and Hobart Boulevard Lighting District, which we are creating in conjunction with a private development project, a 377-unit apartment complex. The developer is required to install 5 streetlights. The lighting district consists of 3 parcels. We have not received any objections to date. Ballots were mailed on December 9, 2015. Ballots must be received by the city clerk's office by next Wednesday, January 27th. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward this item forthwith to city council.
Any questions on number 3? Is there a motion on number 3? By Commissioner Davis, I'll second it. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any problem sending it forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Agenda item number 4, Council District 7, San Fernando Road and Astoria Street, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing scheduled for January 27th, 2016. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 7.
Item 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. Number 4.
Council 7.
Council District 7. Number 4, Mr. Herman.
We're talking about Chipmunk. Felipe Fuentes was having a bad day at City Hall nowadays. Sticking his head between his legs because he knows it's the truth. The truth of the poor street lighting and the maintenance in his own area. And by the way, City Attorney, when we go off agenda under the 54950 rule, the Brown Act, Ralph M. Brown Act, and also under the city charter, you're in violation of our civil rights to conduct the business of the people for the people, as a reminder. Because usually you will tell me I'm off topic, and please be quiet and sit down, stay on topic, like Herb Wesson, the little Negro ant that likes to pick on me at City Hall half the time. So let's keep order and keep business to business for the people, for we the people demand to be heard as we've been heard tonight. And so going back on Mr. Chipmunk in CD1, at Solano Avenue. Oh, that's the wrong one. Now you got me confused, Mr. Kevin. We're talking about San Fernando Road. The streets there are dirty. The streets there represent the undignified councilman who puts his head between his legs and shows little apathy for his constituents. Let alone it is Mr. Cedillo who shines so bright in his area because he brought us here together to hear our issues. And that's what's more important, bringing Boyle Heights, Cypress, Lincoln Heights, our brown community together so that you white prejudiced racists can listen to us and take our concerns so serious that we don't have to be told to fuck up and leave the mic alone. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler on number 4.
Arrested illegally, 11/10/15 at a commission meeting. You think that I come to these meetings with the bullshit that's going on? You think this is a picnic? You think living in a city like this is a picnic, ran like this? That I got to come to a meeting and I got to listen to that fucking shit? You think that that's fun? You don't control your people. You don't clean the streets. You don't sweep the sidewalks. You don't trim the trees. You don't do anything but raise our rates, raise our taxes, and cut back on services. This place is ran like a ghetto, the whole city. Not just this district, but the whole city. You're stealing our money. 3.1 million people hostage in a city ran like this. And you people now are going to bill the federal government now for your little projects. Well, God forbid it's illegal, because it just may be illegal when the Obama administration finds out that they got a bill on that and they didn't consent to it because that is required. Now, under this crap, under number 4, this is your typical San Fernando Road and Astoria Street, taking innocent homeowners and just making a district up on your own whim, passing ballots out. So if you have a large parcel of land, you can take 4 little parcels and it's weighted voting. This is how you steal money for street services you should be paying for because you got the taxes for it. So stop stealing the people's money and cut this out. And stop stealing. And stop harassing people, because I got claims against the city. They are over there fucking with me, and I want to be paid for my damages.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. On number 4, Mr. Flamenco.
Item 4 pertains to the San Fernando Road and Astoria Street Lighting District, which we are creating in conjunction with a private development project, a mixed 150-unit complex with 22,000 square feet of medical offices on ground level. The developer is required to install 3 streetlights. The lighting district consists of 6 parcels. Ballots were mailed on December 9, 2015. Ballots must be received by the city clerk's office by next Wednesday, January 27th. We are requesting for the board to deny the protest. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward this item forthwith to City Council.
Any questions on number 4? Is there a motion on number 4? I'll make the motion, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Rodriguez. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any problem sending number 4 forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Number 5, Olympic Boulevard and Main Street Assessment Hearing, Council District 14, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, Council hearing scheduled for January 27th, 2016. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 5.
With gentrification happening in the city of Los Angeles on Broadway, pushing people to a poor lighted community like off of Olympic Boulevard and Main Street, how dare you, Jose Huizar? You bring disgusting shame to your so-called family Salesian High School, a Christian school, but yet you provide us poor, inadequate street lighting for how many years? Why are we last on the table to be served? Is it because I'm your little brown nigger, Mr. Huizar? I don't think I am. I don't believe I am. I'm an innovator of mental anguish and a social activist for those who do not comprehend the rules of decorum here. Fuck decorum. Follow the Brown Act. Stick to the city charter. Then the business of the people will always be heard, and it will activate our cities, our services, our program activities without the racist discrimination and prejudice towards people with disabilities, people who suffer invisible disabilities. Assholes. That's what Sheila Kuehl said on December 8th. YouTube it. YouTube it. Here you go, a county supervisor engaging with the public at the podium saying you're an asshole. But yet when I speak about assholes, I'm only speaking about the ones who make those in our community suffer, those who oppress the community by poor lighting on Olympic Boulevard and Main Street, Jose Huizar. You've taken all that money and you applied it downtown. What about us in Boyle Heights, Lincoln Heights, El Sereno? Those are communities just as much as Fiesta Broadway. And by the way, to the gentleman out there at the convention center who goes by the so-called name of Mr. Trio. Yeah, Mr. Trio, you discriminate against me when I attend the public areas at Staples Centers.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler on number 5.
There was an old funny story in my family. My father was on an airplane. He didn't usually fly. To make a long story short, they veered over the Pacific Ocean. They came back one less passenger. Apparently somebody accidentally fell out of the plane when the door was open. Just a mistake. You don't think shutting off a microphone, doing all of that bullshit, all this tough guy crap. Some of us came from that, and some of us decided not to live like that. And some of us can go right back doing that fucking shit again. You don't think
Time, Mr. President.
that I can go back and do that, or anybody else could go back and do that?
Mr. Spindler, your time is up. Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Your time. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Your time is up. Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Flamenco on.
Item 5
Mr.
pertains to the
Flamenco
Olympic
on number
Boulevard and
5.
Main Street Lighting District, which we are creating in conjunction with the private development project, a mixed 99-unit apartment complex with retail offices on ground level. The developer is required to install 8 pedestrian lights and 5 street lights. The lighting district consists of 1 parcel. Ballots were mailed on December 9, 2015. Ballots must be received by the city clerk's office by next Wednesday, January 27th. We are requesting for the board to deny the protests. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward this item forthwith to City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Flamenco. Any questions on number 5? Is there a motion on number 5? I'll make it, along with Commissioner Davis. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Any problem sending number 5 forthwith? We'll send number 5 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Executive Officer. Have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, those of you that came and those of you that stayed with us tonight.